Today I'm going to be reviewing two popular nugget ice makers, the Ecozy and the GE Opal. I've had the opportunity to try out both of them for a few months, and they're surprisingly different from each other. Here's everything you need to know before you choose.
So, if you've been researching nugget ice makers, you already know that these two names come up over and over again, the Ecozy and the GE Opal. But the price difference is huge, so the question is, do you actually need to spend Opal money to get nugget ice, or is the Ecozy enough? In this video, I'm going to be walking through the differences I actually noticed while using both of the machines in my home, including the noise, the ice texture, the speed, the cleaning process, long-term use, and which one I would actually buy again. I've actually had the Ecozy for months now, and I previously owned the Opal, so this is not going to be a spec sheet comparison. This is going to be real life use. I've actually used them in a normal kitchen, and I'm going to describe which one fits different lifestyles. So let's get right into it, and the first thing I want to discuss is ice quality. This is the most important part, the actual ice. Both machines make that soft, chewable nugget ice, but they are not identical. The Ecozy nuggets tend to be slightly smaller and just a little bit more crumblier, maybe a little bit warmer. They melt a little bit faster in drinks, but that's great if you actually like softer ice or if you like to chew ice. Now, the Opal ice is a little bit more firm. The nuggets hold their shape longer and it doesn't melt quite as quickly in your drink. Chewing takes just a little bit more effort. So if you want more restaurant style pellet ice, the Opal will definitely be closer to that. Now, my very first nugget ice maker was actually the Opal, and I was immediately really pleased with the nugget ice quality. It did a great job cooling off all of my drinks, and the ice lasted for quite a long time before it melted, and it was really nice to chew. And then I switched over to the Ecozy, and the difference in the ice was immediately apparent. These pellets were a little bit smaller and they melted a little bit more quickly, but I actually did enjoy chewing this ice a little bit more than I did with the Opal. It seemed more like a slushy, and I really like the texture when I put it in my drink. So even though it melts more quickly, I actually enjoyed the crunchy texture of this ice just a little bit more. So, the next thing you're going to really want to consider is the noise level. Ice makers are not quiet, and from brand to brand, the noise level can be significantly different. Both of these machines are going to make noise when they run, but there is a difference between them. The Ecozy is going to have more of a constant hum. It's pretty predictable and steady. The Opal cycles between quiet and loud bursts, which some people find more noticeable. Neither machine is going to be silent, but the Ecozy is more consistent, while the Opal fluctuates in sound. Do keep in mind that you can actually run these on a schedule as well. There are apps for both of them, so you can set times when these are going to run and when they turn off. The next important thing that you need to consider is speed. How fast will these machines actually be making ice for you? For first batch ice, Ecozy is usually faster. It starts producing nuggets within the first few minutes. I attribute this to the warmer quality of the ice, where the Opal ice is a little bit firmer and colder. It takes a little bit longer to process. The Opal tends to take a little longer to warm up. Once it's going, the speed is very similar, but the Ecozy wins the first batch test. It's definitely going to get you ice faster. And the next topic is something that's really important to consider. It's the cleaning and maintenance of these machines. They actually are a little bit maintenance heavy. You have to stay on top of them because you don't want any sort of mold or residue inside the interior chambers of your machines, so you have to maintain them on a regular basis. This is where the two machines really separate. The Ecozy is actually the easier one to maintain. It has fewer parts, it has a simpler cleaning cycle, and it gets less internal buildup. The Opal requires more frequent cleaning. The tank and tubing can collect buildup faster, especially if you have mineral heavy water. You do get better long term performance if you follow their cleaning schedule, but it is definitely more work. Now, these two machines do work a little bit differently. You can actually manually add water to either one of them. The Ecozy has a tank at the top and the bottom. It's easy to fill with a pitcher or taking over to the sink. And the Opal can be used with a tank on the side, which is slim and compact. You actually take that over to your sink and fill it with water, or you can pipe it directly into your water line, which is convenient for some users. That way you never really need to think about filling it with water, but keep in mind that you need to keep that tube clean at all times. The next thing I want to go over is just my daily use and experience using both of these machines. Daily use comes down to space, water refilling, and convenience. The Ecozy machine has a smaller footprint than the Opal, so this is going to fit into most kitchens. You could even place this on a coffee bar if you wanted to. While the Opal feels a little bit more premium. The buttons on the front of the Opal, as well as the lighting, are just a little bit more subtle and upscale feeling, as is the build of the actual machine itself. The Ecozy has more blatant lighting and buttons on the front and a blue light on the inside, while the Opal has a more natural colored warm light and the buttons are just a little bit more subtle. So, if aesthetics are really important to you, the Opal definitely looks more high end. But if convenience matters and you are limited on space, the Ecozy is definitely a little bit easier to live with. And let's just take a couple of moments to talk about long term reliability. The long term reliability of your machine is going to depend on how you actually use it. Ecozy's biggest advantage is that it has fewer moving parts, which means that there are fewer mechanical failures. While the Opal has a track record of occasional pump issues and cleaning related problems, but when it works really well. The ice quality and build feel a little bit more premium, and if for some reason you need to get a hold of the company for a repair, it is definitely easier to get a hold of the GE Opal manufacturer than it's going to be with the Ecozy. And I do believe that the GE Opal also provides an extended warranty if you would like to purchase that separately, which has come in handy a couple of times for me when I used it originally. So that's a broad overview of both machines. So which one should you actually choose for your home? I've owned both of these and I have a few different opinions. I would say choose the Ecozy if you want chewable ice, but you don't want to pay a high premium price. I'd also say choose the Ecozy if you want really easy maintenance. I just put in a cleaning tab about once a week and ran the clean cycle, and it did a really good job cleaning the machine. I really didn't need to worry about it. If you want smaller, softer pellets, the Ecozy is definitely the way to go. And if you need something that's a little bit more compact, if you're short on space, or if you just don't want to take up a lot of room on your kitchen countertop, definitely go with the Ecozy. It is significantly smaller than the Opal. Now, I would say choose the Opal if you want the closest thing to restaurant style nugget ice. If you prefer a more premium design, if you don't mind just a little bit more maintenance, and if you want firmer, slower melting ice. I would also choose the Opal if it's important to you to pipe this directly into your water line. It works really well, and if you prefer to have something with an extended warranty, the Opal will have you covered. And in my experience, they do a pretty good job honoring their warranties. Both machines make nugget ice, but they're built with different lifestyles in mind. The Ecozy gives you great ice with less effort, and the Opal gives you a premium look and firmer pellets, but with a little bit more upkeep. If you're comparing these two, I hope this helped break down the real differences. I have used both of these machines for several months at a time, and I was honestly pleased with both of them, and I would purchase either one of them again. I'm currently using the Ecozy just because it's really simple to use, but I have it in a place where it's not really forward facing and I'm not looking at it all day long. If I had something that was going to be sitting on my kitchen countertop, I would probably choose the Opal again. If you've owned and used either one of these machines, I would love to hear about your experience as well. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it and you enjoy comparison videos, make sure to stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.